Now, in honour of Women's Month and Cavendish Square's 40th birthday in Cape Town, the Native Agency opened a pop-up store called Guilt and Ganache. It's the world's first guilt-free cupcake shop. Now, the broad idea is to get women to let off steam and literally eat their troubles away by having a cupcake with an edible message about anything, from skipping the gym or not spending enough time with their kids. Now that advertising is ubiquitous is a no-brainer, and one medium that is really starting to gain some traction: digital screens at petrol station forecourts. You have a captive audience for a few moments, so get the message and the look right, and it might just stick. My colleague Yashini Padayachee reports.
Your garage forecourt experience is set to get a little better. A new medium of digital advertising is hitting stores across the country. It's going to provide more options for advertisers and more information for consumers. Digital screens have been launched at some petrol stations. Graffiti Digital has partnered with UK-based Amscreen. The unique technology provides exciting prospects for out-of-home advertising.
How this technology works is it's SIM-based technology, and it's called plug and play. So all we need to do is we just basically bring a screen here, plug it in, and basically we can upload to it within seconds. Because the screens have got a SIM card based in them, how it works is basically we can choose to basically do a campaign on a national basis, regional basis, or even a localized basis. So for car brands, it's been an amazing network, because what they can do is they can have a car ad coming up there, and they can have the local dealer being advertised on that screen. So it really works well from that kind of point of view.
This type of advertising has distinct features for both advertisers and customers.
Well, I think the great thing about digital is how the media actually works. So you'll see on our screen right now, we actually have just struck a deal with Times Media. And the great thing is their product is sold in the forecourts. So for anyone who's selling product in the store, it's a no-brainer. You know, you can actually have your localized, your kind of national ad coming on basically 500 screens, and you can send us the daily news. You'll see the news headlines of the day comes up on the screen, which really works phenomenally well. If your product is sold in store, if it's gum, if it's halls, it really is kind of here at the point of sale. So what better place to advertise?
There are plans for 500 more screens to be up across the country by November. Yashini Padayachee for Mags on Media.
Now, we're always on about brand insight. If you find it, capture it, then your brand is a winner with consumers. The big bank Absa claims it sponsors the human spirit, and the idea is to give oxygen into properties like soccer, rugby, mountain biking and the arts. The justification is that the human spirit gives its customers the strength to push on. This is how the idea works in one specific category.
I was born in 1986 in Guatemala, a township outside Springs. My mother was a street vendor. My father was absent. So I grew up watching my mother sacrificing so much to make sure we never go to bed hungry. One of my earliest memories is watching her making fire in a coal stove during winter. It was my first awareness of the act of creation, of putting this thing and that thing together to make something that wasn't there before. My name is Bambo Sibia, and I believe art can change the world. When I was 13, my mother took me to Mozambique, where she's from. There I met this young artist called Chipoleka, the grandson of the great Mozambican artist Malangatan Ngwenya.
Chipoleka was a good friend to me, and he was my first great influence.
I would show him my drawings, and he would give me advice. And I think that was when I knew I had to become an artist. In 2001, I met famous South African artist Paul Madipala.
He actually dedicated his time to teach a young artist.
He took me under his wing and started teaching me privately. he opened my eyes. Paul was murdered outside his house in 2007, but his inspiration stays with me for the rest of my life. After matric, I wanted to study graphic design, but my father refused to pay for my studies.
So my uncle Elias paid for my first year.
From there, I started getting bursaries. My uncle means a lot to me. In many ways, he was a father to me. When I finished my studies, I was looking for a voice, for a story to tell. I immediately thought about my mother, about women, about the strength of women. So I started going out in the street and interviewing beggars. Women who have no choice but to beg on the street because they didn't have any skills to get work. And I started sketching them. This was a difficult time for me. I confronted the pain of my own childhood while I was trying to make a name for myself. People at first rejected the work, but I kept doing it. Seeing the power in it. When I won the Gerald Sikota Award, I felt like the story had come full circle. It was my closing statement, in a way. It was like a healing process.
It's when I felt like, I've done it. This is it. This is the end, of talking about that training stories. I needed to I was pretty much happy to move to something else.
It was also the first time that I started getting answers from my dad. We started having a normal relationship after that.
I think it's quite changed, because even now he lives in a family where there's also women, and he seems to be quite respectful towards the opposite gender, which I'm happy about, yeah. Definitely.
I still stay in Guatemala. I don't think I'll ever leave. Before, I had no choice. But now I stay because it's my home. It's my inspiration. I believe art can change the world because I've seen it happen. It changes people who look at it. It changes people who are part of it. It changed me. My name is Bambo Sibia, and I believe art can change the world.
And that is this week's programme, also on Facebook and on Twitter 24/7. Next week on Mags on Media, how to merge two ad agency cultures together and keep all the clients happy. I tell you, it is not an easy task. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
News that moves. ENCA.com.